like it means nothing.
Welcome to Disobey. Welcome to our show. We hold ourselves like keynote speakers because we are opening this stage. So we're going to call ourselves keynote speakers in LinkedIn since now. Wow, it's awesome to see so many of you here already now. And to see our show, although there are lots of that technical stuff over there. So we're happy to have you here. Welcome to maybe learn something about human behavior or about organizational culture, psychology, and stuff like that. All the soft things you need to know. So I'm Janne. Nowadays I work in Verohallinto, Finnish tax administration, but this whole presentation doesn't have to do anything with tax administration except by some kind of incidental matters. I used to be an officer in the Finnish Defense Forces, mainly worked with Intel, so with information analysis, and I have some strange interest in human behavior. I'm not a graphic designer, as you probably see during this presentation.
And hi, my name is Miikka Saukko, going by handle Otter in some online spaces. I'm from Oulu, the best city in Finland, for hackers at least. I'm also working for Finnish tax administration. I'm a team lead for a team that handles security audits, bug bounty programs, some vulnerability disclosure programs, and there's also some architectural things. I used to be technical dude way back, but nowadays mostly security management stuff and hand waving a lot.
Okay, a little bit of a forward here. So this is like science and art and experience mixed all together, where theory meets real-world experiences. We haven't used any AI except for the pictures, so all the hallucinations are human-based and organic. And, well, here are things about human behavior, psychology, so on. Use them for good. Do not do things to promote your own benefits, but your organizations and good security practices and so on. Like in Karate Kid, use it for good only. And you probably came here to listen to some nice talk about some soft things, which is easy to get you going on Disobey. You were wrong. They will close the doors. You have to listen to this. Human behavior, that's hard, that's irrational. And especially when you're building instead of breaking, that's even harder. But anyway, if we would like to have it easy, we would not work in the cybersecurity, right? I think there's one quote I will show you, which quite well highlights the problem with human behavior. It's almost impossible to control and comprehend. It's ever-changing phenomenon. So let's go deeper. Mainly hackers are interested in behavioral and social sciences because of social engineering. It's nice when you can get to do people things for malicious purposes or testing their awareness or so on. But actually, you can turn it around and look inside your own culture, your own organization. How do people behave there? How you should educate them to, instead of only do not click that link, but also to cooperate, to promote healthy ways of doing things instead of arguing and so on. And where you need these skills, I think everybody needs needs to learn and know something about this if you are a manager, leader, or specialist. You may be thinking now, I'll never be a manager, I'll be just a specialist. I don't like to work with people, and people are difficult and so on. But in some stage you are the most experienced, you want more salary, or you have the qualities of manager, or you hate it less than the other people, so you become a manager. And like an unnamed colleague of mine, which is not sitting on the front row, said once last week that I didn't apply to this job to deal with relationship problems. Oh, there are many people raising hands. Yeah. But anyways, about something about culture. Every time you have people coming together, you have culture, you have project, you have group, you have anything like that. The culture is born. But it can be crafted, it can be like guided. Like you can have a strategy that like how you want your organization to behave instead of just letting it happen, and see what kind of people you recruited and what kind of culture they are promoting. So that's one of the big things about this presentation. And I wanted to highlight the cliché by Peter Drucker in the 50s. Everybody has heard of it, but how many of you have actually dig deeper into it? Like, what does it mean? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I think it's kind of like an unnecessary confrontation. Actually, culture needs strategy, and strategy is like a foundation for culture. Or it's not that controlled, it's not that well planned. You get something, but is it what you actually want? I'd say that culture is like implementation of strategy, and as we know, in cybersecurity, implementation phase is where it normally fails. You may have good plans, but then you get punched in the face, and then it falls apart. Because we're military people, or I like to tell military stories. Intti-tarinat in Finnish. A short story. When I had just graduated, it was my first years. I was walking on the corridor of the garrison, working as squad leader, and I heard two conscripts that I didn't know. They were talking, looking at the board. They were the results. But which was the best squad they were discussing? This one guy was asking, hey, so which squad won? The other one said, the third one. They are actually really not that disciplined group. They're actually fooling around all the time. But when it's time to do business, they have really good discipline and team spirit. So that was when I knew that I actually had created a microculture which led us to that position. What it consisted, we have a shared goal, we're the best. There were individual benefits. It actually helps each one of the conscripts to get where they want to go, since they were also ranked. And then we had like individual and shared responsibilities. I had also responsibilities. I promised them that I will do my best to help them, but they have to do their best. And my co-trainers, they have to do their best. And I will make sure of that. And I kept repeating it all the time when we had trainings and so on. So it took me years to understand actually what happened and that moment, how significant that was. And well, in the military we said that leading by example, that's in that kind of organization it works, but when you're like in some kind of matrix organization, it's way different. So we had the chess theme. I'm not sure if many of you read our script, which I wrote, and I didn't have a chance to contact Miikka, so I just put it in the internet and it went through. But it was quite good. And I was thinking of a chessboard. It's like chessboard where actually it's evolving, it's moving. The rules are changing and so on. There are like natural culture or many cultures, especially nowadays, which are kind of like the foundation, like how we want things to go, how much we value, for example, like individualism or group thinking, or can you actually go to your superior like, hey, or do you have to do something formal? And organizational culture, of course, how you have organized your company, what choices there are made or have been made. And then already the subcultures I mentioned, like my small one-squad subculture experiment. And then it's a budget. Well, it's always about money. It's much easier when you have enough money, right, in real life as well. But especially times like this, it affects your possibilities to operate. And then it's the people, the most difficult and uncontrolled part. You just can't control them. Maybe you hire someone and you think that, hey, I kind of know what kind of person I hired. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You get lots of surprises. And especially when there are active and capable and ambient people, they might change your culture by starting to do their own things. I'm not talking about regulation since we live in EU, so I don't need to talk about regulation and the effect of regulation in activity. Technology, well, that's a no-brainer. It's getting more interconnected, complicated with AI, cloud, so on, all the time. Then it's the last box. I was actually kind of amused that I'm here. It's my first talk in a hacker meeting, and I'm talking about feelings. So I was expecting Miikka to, slap me in the face. Like, here you are. Well, at least it's non-technical. But anyway, it's about working in organization is actually much about feelings, how you feel. How you feel in the morning. There are, of course, some deviations, like Monday morning. Some people may feel tired or something like that. But do they feel safe? Do they feel comfortable that they have support? They have actually quite well-defined tasks, like most of us don't have. And actually, about the facts, I really like the one children's game where first person whispers something to the next one, and then you whisper, and last people says it out loud, and it's completely different. What I want to say by that is that when you have this, when you have facts, actually, are you still talking about the same thing with the same definition? That's the first thing we should always check. If I would start asking each of you individually about something, probably I would get different kinds of answers. So especially nowadays, it's not easy to say that here are the facts, let's start working. And especially when you communicate things, first you make it clear yourself, then you communicate them, and then the receiver remembers something. And it also has to do with feelings, because feelings connect the facts to your memories. It's actually, when it raises feelings, of course, it's much easier to remember. So, I have a question for you. Have you ever analyzed your operational environment in your organization? How often do you analyze the change? Even certain person in certain place goes away, another people comes to replace him or her. It might change the dynamics. So think about it when you leave this room, what's the dynamics like, and what are the rules in your organization? So is it chess? Is it a chessboard where you have strict rules and it has been played since 2000 BC or something like that? Or is it more like something else where some of the rules can be bent, some of can be even broken. I think it's like that. So that's our story from CFP to this moment. We have also learned something. Then something about structure, organizational culture. There are different levels, and the top artifacts you can see. You can read documents, you can see the organizational charts, you can see the dress code and all kinds of things like that, which affect how people operate. Then it's the conscious level, which you cannot like read it so clearly, but you can actually see it. You can get it from multiple artifacts. You can kind of like digest them. So here are our values. They are often stated, but there can be also difference between what is stated and what actually are the values of a company or organization. And it's the assumptions, the actually things you don't think. You act in a certain way, but you actually are not sure why do you do that. This is a tool, this is a lens. You can examine like some factor or some kind of activity in your organization by going from artifacts to values to assumptions, how people actually operate, and think what kind of changes you should be making to actually get to the bottom level, which is most complex, but it has durability. If you can get changes to people's behavior, that's you're going to get long-lasting effects and the biggest effects. Mikko Hakuli, name not changed, told us not to talk about this, but we decided to have it here anyway. So how you can fail this? There are actually so many things to fail, but we highlighted a few. I already mentioned like strategy versus practice. It's something that you think you are and think you are doing and plan you're doing, and you're doing something else. You're telling that, hey, our specialists, they get the kind of like freedom to do what they want, and then you micromanage them all the time. That's one example. Then it's the context. You fail to tailor. You copy the solutions from somebody else, or you use the same solution, the hammer for every situation. Everything is nails after that. There is always shades of gray. There's always the risk is different, but it's a good way to fail this. There's always the communication, like how do you communicate with other people, one-to-one or to multiple groups via email, know the rules, know the communication. The fundamentals of communication, ask someone who does it for a living. The time. Security people involved maybe too late in the projects. That's when they have already gone quite far to the wrong direction, and then you have to be the showstopper and say that, hey, here is actually something that we need to solve before you can start using this software. For example, it could be happening in some organizations that some people start like 6 months earlier and some people start like 1 month ago. And then you have to stamp it like, yeah, it's secure. Scaling, over or under measuring security. That's a no-brainer also, related to, for example, context, that you find the right solution to the right problem and you get it approved. Us against them is that, are you working with people or are you being like the Gestapo type, like you're watching people and you're pointing only out errors and not helping them, not supporting them, not providing support. Visibility, what I mean by that is, do you actually see, do you have the visibility what is happening in your organization, and are you able to affect to it. Then it's, well, I already said this is the effect. Like, do you have like a true capability to make changes, or are you being just some kind of higher management tool which is put back in the closet if you have like too strong opinions, or it somehow collides with the business case? Then the last and the least, it's a cooperation. Are you able to cooperate? Do you want to win every battle, or are you able to give in? We know that you have to give in. And do you get support? Security is normally it's a supportive element, but do you get support? Do you get support from a communication specialist, for example, like how you should communicate if you have certain goals, what you would like to achieve, the effect on the lowest level of the shine triangle. Then the last one is my personal favorite. Could be happening somewhere. You become a sin eater. That actually the responsibility, which should be higher management's responsibility, you're actually the one that you're saying that, hey, this is okay. So kind of like the higher management makes the decision, but actually if something falls apart, it's your fault. And, well, as we know, also security should not be a matter of belief, or you just bless it like, yes, this is secure now. Or hope.
Hope and belief get you far. So, when we started, Janne told me to make a practical examples about all this. I was like, try, and then I failed, and I made this. The 5 W's and 1 H is one of my 2 favorite kind of acronyms in security. I did some security management before, and this is maybe my favorite. Other one is the 5 times Y. I'm not sure if someone knows it, but I love this a lot. I'm not sure where it comes to security, but it's mentioned in Rudyard Kipling's book. That's a Finnish one called Alkutarinoita. It's about the story about the elephant that's actually in the cover of at least my version of the book. It's about how elephant got its long nose. And there's these poems after all the stories, and this is in the end of that elephant story. I read it to my kids home, and then I noticed there's a lot of spanking in it. So you should kind of frame it somehow, because there's a lot of violence actually in that particular story. I'm not sure why. The elephant is quite curious, and everyone's like spanking him because he's so curious. I don't know why, but that's how it goes, apparently. But then about security, there's apparently some kind of security things involved in here. So the 5 W's and 1 H is who, where, how, why, when, what. So basic questions anywhere. And I want to point out for this audience that it doesn't say cyber or infosec. It's about basically all security. So any security stuff, also in the physical realm, the same things should apply. So about the why. There's a security program starting. Now you go make security. The first question should be, okay, what are we doing? Why are we doing the security? We need some kind of justification for it. Why are we doing it? No one likes to do security for the sake of security usually. There's some business need or some other need, regulation or whatever. There's some kind of why in the background. It might be that your company needs a colorful stamp from one of the big fours to put on the paper and hang it on the wall. That's security. Does it improve security a lot? Maybe not. But it might be the reason you are doing it. And it's good to know that, okay, of course, if you want to have these checkboxes filled, then, well, let's fill the checkboxes. If we want to have some kind of cultural change, then we must do that. But if you get that figure out early on, then it's better. If you just fill the checkboxes and then think that, okay, now we have improved our security a lot, it might not be the case. I've done some ISO 27001 certification before, and it's good to remember that the certificate in the wall is for communication, PR, sales, and management. The tech dudes don't care about the paper on the wall. That's not for them. It's not for R&D guideline. It's for the sales, so they can put it on LinkedIn, that we got this. And it's fine. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's good to know that it's a different thing. And you should be quite honest about it before you start. Okay, then who? Who are you doing the security for? Who is responsible for the security? Maybe it's me, maybe it's my boss, maybe it's someone else. Who are the different parties who have the stake in it? It might be that you have a security unit of some kind, but then there's this technical dudes, and then there's the communication dudes, and management, and you might have customers or suppliers or someone else. Who has the budget for doing things? I have budget for doing some small thing, but if I want to change all the firewalls in the company, if I want to get rid of one brand of firewalls and take new brands instead, who has the budget? Who can say yes for that? Usually it's not the guy who has boots on the sand who can say, okay, let's change everything. It needs some kind of communication in the organization to find out who is the person who can make that decision. And usually it's not the security person at all. Same with, for example, procurement, or there's a lot of talks about supply chains. Can you change the supply chain? Can the security person say that, okay, let's not buy our clouds from that place, we want to buy our clouds from that place? Usually you don't have the power to do that. You have to find that somewhere. You have to figure out who it is first. You have to kind of have discussions, a lot of things that Janne said. You have to influence a lot of people for doing bigger changes. Or you end up doing these small kind of patching the security somewhere. So it might be you have to kind of give reasons for the right people. If someone goes very, very bad, if there's a breach or someone steals all your data, I'm not sure about all of you, but I'm pretty sure that you are not the persons who go to Helsingin Sanomat or Yle or BBC to say that something went bad. It's usually the CEO or like someone else who needs to explain your things. And if you can get to them that actually you are the guy who needs to explain this somewhere, then maybe they are kind of invested in maybe giving you a budget or some power to do some things. Okay, then about the what. Philosophical question, what is security? Okay, let's make security one, please. Thank you. There's physical security, organizational security, information security, cybersecurity that's somehow different than the information security, and all this. And once again, you should know what is the thing you are doing. And then this kind of definition of done kind of question, when is the security done? What is the perfect security? What is the good enough security? And what does it take? If I make new policy and put it on intranet somewhere, is it like good now? Everything done? Yes. Or should there be training? Should there be something else? How do you accomplish that thing you were trying to accomplish? That thing that was called security in the first meeting. You there, go and do security. So defining what you are actually doing, what it means, is important, like Janne told you before. And then, if you need to pass certification, then you go and pass certification. But don't get fooled that that means that you are then 100% secure if you have whatever acronym certification on your wall. And then, good also to realize that almost in any setting, there is no 100% secure things. So you have to also prepare for the thing that maybe it fails. And then there's this incident response and all those things coming. So you should know what security means, what it doesn't mean when you start your security program. And then where? Scoping in usual is the most kind of hardest part of the whole thing. What are we securing and where should we have the security? Is it here on the table, the security? How do you kind of define? It's always back to the defining thing. If you don't make good scope for your security efforts, there's a great chance that you start to bike shedding like color of your firewalls. Or there's these 3 security rules somewhere and I'm not sure what is good and what should I do? Should I focus on this one black box in my data center that no, I'm doing security? Or is it more like organizational thing? Both are still fine, but you should know which one you are doing and where is the context of your security. And they are extremely vastly different things if you are securing some like one thing somewhere or the whole organization or multiple organizations in some cases. Usually, I'd say that fix the big picture first, make the foundation and all that good, and then if at some point you have time, then you can start tweaking those firewall rules or whatever, smaller details. But then when? Of course, yeah, always, security always and all that. Usually it's easier to start good security efforts when people change. If management changes, that's a good you can go in and say, okay, now we have this change in organization. Could we have a moment and talk about security, or maybe improving security somehow? Because if you have, for example, CEO who has been doing that 20 years, it's hard to tell them that you have been doing it wrong for the last 20 years. Now you have to do it differently. Some CEOs might go with that. And of course, you shouldn't go saying that you have doing everything wrong before. But point is that It's easier sometimes to change when people change. Or if you are the new guy coming to the organization, you might have this kind of new stupid ideas that, hey, we should do this. I don't know anything, but maybe we should improve that one. It's a good point to kind of try to change things. You can also do an honest audit. Sometimes someone asks me, what is an honest audit? That's when auditor comes in, yet you tell them everything. You don't try to kind of make them everything look better, just tell them everything. All the bad stuff. We don't have anyone to administrate that one. Put it in somewhere. Then they make the findings, go to the board or CEO or somewhere. They will go to, oh, there's so much red. And then it's your kind of moment of kind of giving up some solutions for it. Of course, you shouldn't do that every year, but sometimes. Do an honest audit and act on it. If there's a project if you are like project-oriented organization, if no one invites you to project planning meetings, just go there. Invite yourself. Try to force yourself into all the planning things. Try to nag in every chat, if possible, that I need to be in there. As Janne said, it's totally futile to do something when everything's done already. Sorry. And then you have tools like threat modeling or like audits or things like that to kind of get your truth out somehow. And then don't shoot the messenger. If someone says that you have bad access control, then you might have bad access control. Maybe do something for it. And then the how part, this is the hardest part of the whole thing. And this is, as the consultants like to say, out of scope. So I'm not going to tell you about the firewalls and access control lists or whatever. But it's easy, just go and do the thing. You have all the culture done and you know who to speak, you have a budget, everything. It's just do. Right?
Yeah, it's easy. Okay, so what we wanted to tell you is that although it's technical, and which is out of scope, it's a great deal about people. Think about your organization now. Is everything as you would like it to be? Do you have the visibility, the possibility to make changes? Or are you some kind of a victim of circumstances that's the way it is, I can't do anything? Security people, we are seen as kind of like negative people because we point out things that are not nice, but we should also be able to propose solutions always. Always go with the 5 W's and H, like be prepared, be active, be brave. Go and talk with certain individuals that somehow undervalue security. I know there are people like that. Security is like a soccer team which starts the season with like minus 15 points when all the others start from 0. So you need to do some extra. You need to convince people that you are actually there to help them. You need to be involved. But if you're always there like you have this big sack of sand that you just throw it around like this, you're not invited into places. They try to avoid you, to get around you. Then you lose your visibility. So think about what are the things that make your life more difficult and how can you change them? Probably, like Miikka said, probably not by yourself, but who do you need to support you, to integrate security in like every processes from beginning to the end. And now it's the time that we could like say it all together that what is the most essential thing you need? The support from higher management, like in every book. So it starts with that they support you. And when they support you, you can go to places and, hey, I need to get this fixed. And if it doesn't work out, then you can always say that there's the big guy with the money and the power and everything who is calling you that you should actually do this. So, building and fostering culture starts from you. Let's end this presentation with this nice and warm feeling. It's Valentine's Day, people. Miikka has some things to say, and then we'll...
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You broke it.
Did you break it?
Hey. So, this is a call to action. Enjoy Disobey 2025. Take this nice culture. There's nice culture here. There's lots of volunteers here who are doing a lot of things without pay. If you see someone collecting trash somewhere, give him or her thumbs up. And for that, take all the trash with you. And have a very nice Disobey. And we will be probably at the bar after this.
We will.
If you need to chat, they said that we cannot take any questions. So thank you for this. See you around. Have a nice Disobey.